All right, here we go. And we see a bus, right? And I'll tell you this, like, it reminds me of my days. You know, I have vivid memories, you know, being a kid and going to school and going to baseball practice. And I had to get on those things called buses, right? And they were very great, you know, for me. But I loved, you know, having the ability to just, like, you could even say, you know, people have their complaints about buses, but I'll tell you, like, it was good to just be able to sit down, you know, and relax, you know, in a bus and have someone drive me to where I needed to go, right? And not have to walk everywhere. Although walking can be a very great form of exercise, you don't want to neglect walking in its entirety, right, in its uses. But you know, when you gotta go those far distances, you gotta take a bus and ride it, you know, to where we need to go. Because oftentimes, like me, I didn't have, you know, the benefit of having a car, you know, throughout, you know, my whole life. So, and, you know, the distance to, you know, riding a bike to where it goes. Because you can say, oh, why don't you ride a bike? But it was too far. It would take too long. And, you know, if you want to get to that meeting or that practice without breaking a sweat, in a sense, and conserve your energy and look your best, you know, within that setting, you'd probably want to get inside a motorized vehicle, right? Because it shields you from sweating, you know, and tiring yourself out, which was what would happen if you'd walk or take a bike. So from that, you know, I come to appreciate that riding in a bus. So when I have a car now, and I've had one, you know, for quite some time, it's made me realize, you know, how great it is, you know, simply to have one parked, you know, in my house, in my place of living, and just be able to jump in whenever I wanted to. Hello, that's the big thing, is like being able to get and start your trip whenever you want to and go wherever you want to, because those buses, they don't travel, you know, 24/7, right? Although they may be moving, you know, at all times, but, you know, there's only one bus that arrives at this stop at this time. And when that bus passes, you got to take the next one, right? You got to wait that 10, 20, sometimes an hour. I know I've waited hours for buses to arrive, and I pondered to myself, like, why didn't I just walk this? I could be home faster or whatever, but I didn't know. And, you know, what that's made me realize is that when I'm in a car, when I'm driving around, you know, little things like traffic, you know, can really bother a lot of people, make them angry, make them hostile, you know, make them honk at other people and lower their windows and scream at them and have this total burst of anger, right? And again, it's just negative energy that you're just throwing around. And how can you have that, you know, when, you know, you have, you know, one of the greatest tools in the world at your disposal, and that's a car that can take you pretty much anywhere you want to go within a reasonable amount of time, you know, aside from an airplane or a helicopter. But, you know, you can't use those things, you know, an airplane to take you 10 minutes in the city, though you can, but airplane will take you longer, and helicopters probably too damn expensive, but you get the gist. So from, you know, having that experience, right, of being in that bus, you know, when I got in the car, I thought it was the coolest thing ever, right? I love that thing. I love my old piece of junk car that I had, you know, as a high schooler. I turned the radio up and I enjoyed that thing, right? I reaped the benefits of that car, because that's what'll happen if you don't appreciate your things, right? You won't reap the benefits. You won't care about them. you'll be, in essence, a spoiled brat. So, you know, from that, and what you can also learn right from the example of the bus, is it's a good metaphor for life. Because a lot of the things, a lot of the events, a lot of opportunities in life, they come like a bus would. They have a schedule, right? They're gonna arrive at 1:15 p.m. and you gotta be at that bus stop prepared, you know, to get the attention of the driver, to step in, have the money to pay for it. Although some might laugh, you know, at, you know, the price of the bus being so cheap, you know, why would that be such a big marker? But it's just a metaphor for the example here, right? Because it's sad to say it, a lot of people don't have that money to pay for a bus ride in this world, right? You know, a lot of people, especially out of this country, are dirt broke. You know, they don't have the opportunity to even do that. Right? And a lot of people are in so much debt that they're below, you know, a zero balance, a balance of having nothing. They're just in debt. So even then, you can say they can't afford a bus. So from that, you know, you got to be prepared, right? You got to have the tools at your disposal. You know, that $2.50 ready to go, which is what I paid back then. And, you know, from that, be aware, you know, be ready to handle it, right? Be aware, because guess what? When that bus passes, you may not see it again, right? You may not see it for the rest of the day, right? That same bus, that chance to get on, right, and enjoy, you know, being there, seeing that driver, seeing the people on there, and getting to that place at the time that you wanted to arrive, right? If you miss that bus, you lose out on that. You know, you never get that same opportunity again, right? And those are like chances in life, right? You see a potential, you know, interview, right? Your company's looking for new candidates. You see the ad, and they're, you know, telling people, come to this place at this time. Be ready with formal attire and everything. Write on a piece of paper and notes, because you want to be able to write notes in these meetings. It'll make you look really great in front of them, and you'll be able to take down their information and pretty much have what they teach you become ingrained in your mind. You know, because it's like you're at a class. You want to take notes and study and learn, and they like to see that stuff, right? They want you to be, you know, a great student of their company. They don't want you just to simply, you know, go through the motions without thinking. They want you to be smart and caring and respectful. And how can you do that if you're not listening, taking instruction, and learning from it? So what you could say is that, like in life, you know, the opportunities are truly like those buses, right? Because once they pass, you'll probably never see them again. You'll never have them again. So when that bus comes and you see it coming, and you're even far away from that thing, let's say that bus is by that light over there, right? And you want to take it, you want to get on the bus, but it's getting there within 30 seconds to a minute. What do you got to do? You got to run to that bus stop. You got to chase that opportunity, because if you don't, you know, if you don't get there on time, that opportunity will slip. That bus will leave, you know, and it probably won't even be noticed, right? It won't make a difference, you know, to that bus, at least in that moment. But, you know, you got to go, you know, and chase after that, chase after your success, and leave your mark, you know, leave your mark on that bus, right? Smile, say hello when you're in that thing, to the driver, to the people on there. And if you see someone down in there, smile, lift up their day, right? Because it would be almost a waste if you didn't, right? And some of you may not feel that need to do so. Some of you may not feel that's the most important thing to do in the world, but I do. I think it's important, because I'll tell you this, if I was on that bus and I fell down and someone, you know, took the time of their day to be nice to me, to say hello, to introduce themselves, it would make my day right? I would think that that's the greatest thing in the world. And if I want them to do that to me, it'd be foolish if I didn't be doing that to them first. Because how can you expect people to help you out if you don't help them out first? Right? That's a very selfish way of thinking. And you know, coming to terms with that way of thinking, right? Because a lot of people, you know, they want free handouts, they want free stuff, you know, from either the government or their employer. They want a raise without actually being in that company for a certain amount of time, right? To garner that raise, to earn, you know, the raise, right? It's almost like the phrase that I remember as a kid, you know, on a Frosted Flakes cereal box. And what is it? It's earn your stripes, right? You gotta earn, you know, those things. You can't, you know, those stripes just don't become given to anybody, right? There's a specific word in front of that saying, and it's earn, right? You gotta earn those things. You gotta work for them. You gotta put the time in and obtain them, because, you know, they're not just given to anybody. They wouldn't have any value, you know, if they didn't require conscious effort and a conscious, you know, ability, you know, to understand them and have people put in the work to attain them, right? They wouldn't have any meaning. They wouldn't have any scarcity, because just any random Joe on the street can attain them, right? So, you know, and that would be like, hey, you have a job, right? And you got the people at the top, right? And those people were simply just given, you know, the opportunity to lead other people and have this, you know, huge power over the company, right? Without actually earning it, without actually working to get to where they are, without getting the education they need, the knowledge, the wisdom, you know, to actually be an effective person at that position. So, you know, at least I wouldn't trust those people if that would happen, but if they wouldn't have earned their stripes. So for you, you know, do that, put in the work, you know, to, you know, get into those positions, right? And if you don't, arguably you'll get closer to earning them, and you'll probably have the ability to do them, right? Even if you don't get the position, you go out and you practice and become the best person you can be, and there might be another opportunity somewhere else to get that spot. You know, and you can't be mad, you know, if you're rejected, right? You don't get the opportunity. You get that old message, you know, we regret to inform you that blah blah blah, you know, that old rejection, right? As those may be delivered in a polite way, a way not to discourage you, but what that means simply is that you're not enough, right? You didn't do enough, you didn't become enough, you know, to, you know, land that position. And that's okay. It's just a reminder that you gotta work harder, you gotta earn that thing.